Hey all, we're here to finish up our blade today, or tonight. So here we go. I've got the bottom cut off, I've got it symmetried over. If you didn't do that before, just delete your bottom edge or face. Okay, so from the front view, I'm going to grab one of these edges, and I'm going to go Alt-R for ring, which is this button right here. Then I'm going to say connect, and it's going to connect it right in the middle. If I take a look back to the front, and I just pushed F, and I scale this up. I could have just done it inside of the connect, but this is faster. So I do that. Then I need to have another one, and I'll explain these as we go or as we get further along. So I'll connect again. I'm going to connect that one. And just to show you what I mean about moving this up, I can move it up and down right here. I'm going to put it, this is where the blade is going to start to bevel to the point. So I'm going to put it right there. Then we actually need one more down here, or another one down here. And the way I set it up was that I was going to divide it by 3 for you, so you can see how that is. So I'm going to turn this back to 0 like we had it originally. And instead of just doing 1, sometimes you can just do 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do that because that way I can form the blade a little bit better. All right. So if we look, it's all the way around. Everything's good. Back to front. Okay, so we need one more cut, and this is the one that's confusing, but it needs to be done. So this blade is actually got a sharp edge right at the edge, and it's got a flat thing. It's called the flat of the blade, or there's another term for it too, but I can't remember right this second. So I'm going to grab this top one, and what I need to do is make it so this point right here has an edge that kind of goes out through there. So to do that, I'm just going to do an edge across the whole thing. So control connect, turn that back down to 1, and maybe move it over a tad, not too much. You'll see why. Yeah, we'll just leave it we'll leave it at 0, like that. I think the tutorial is a little bit different, but it's the same different. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take number 1, and I'm going to say target weld here to here. All right, for some reason that's weird. And then I'm going to do this one to here. I'm going to do this one to here, and this one to here, and this one to here, and here. Basically now you can kind of see what I'm doing, I hope, with the blade. So I'm going to go to the front view. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to pull this over so it's like right there where the blade goes. And this is kind of already set to the blade, so I'm going to take this one. And there's different ways you could have done this. I just did it this way for the ease of the first time you're using it. You know, the great thing about this is once you get used to doing this stuff, you'll just have your own methodology, and the order really doesn't matter in most cases. There's some things that do, but in most cases, it's not going to be a huge difference. So now I've got the blade side all laid out, and I've got it all defined like that. What I need to do is I can do one of two things, and I think the way I did it in the tutorial, let me check here. Yeah, I collapsed it. So I'm going to go back to 2 for edge mode, grab this edge right here, Control Alt R. So I have all those edges, and if you want to see it a little bit easier, sometimes it's easier to see this, but that's the edges I've got. And then I'm going to go back to that mode and go Control, well, for me it's collapse, and I'm going to collapse it down. And now I've kind of got the blade started. It may be a little bit too thick, and we can thin that out in a second. So I'm going to go back to the front, and now the only thing I need to do besides the thinning of it is move this over like that, and then probably move this one over like that. So basically this is my edge of the blade. Now let's come to the side, because I did notice that I made it a little too thick, which is great because I want to show you that there's no problem doing most of the stuff on the fly. I really only need these guys to be thinner because this one doesn't need to be. I could just do each side and then scale it in, but I'm just going to grab them all because it's just going to scale towards the middle no matter what. So if I scale, there we go. Now I've got it a little bit better. Okay. I'm going to turn off the transparent here. Maybe I'll throw a different texture on it real quick. I know I'm using the old one here. Let me do that again. And if I turn off the display edges mode right here, you'll see it kind of looks a little flat. That's the last thing we need to do. We need to do what are called smoothing groups. And I didn't go over this a lot inside of the tutorial, but what it is this edge and these edges all need to be read as separate, and because it's mirrored, it's doing across both, need to be read as a different smoothing group as this one. So right now they're all set to 4 apparently. If I say all, you'll see, well, let's just all set them to 1 and turn everything else off. By turning it on and off, you just click once and then click again. If it was grayed out, it means it's being used, but not all of them are being used. So I do 1. I'm going to come up here, grab this one, hold shift and grab the next one. I should grab that edge, and I'm going to change that to 2 and turn off the 1. And then I'm going to do it to the back side too. So this one needs to be different than the 2. Oops. Let's try this again. There we go. So I'm going to change that from 1 to 3. Okay. And already, if you look at it, let me turn off the edge mode here. If you look at it, now it looks like it has an edge. Now the only problem is this top piece still blends across itself, and that's because since it's a mirror, both of these have the same smoothing group. So real quick, I need to collapse it, convert to Apple Poly, go back to edge mode, grab this one, shift grab the next one, and grab this one, and this was 2. We know 3 is being used, so I'm going to use 4, and then I'll do hide unselected. The back, this one, this one, this one. I guess I could use just shift. I'm still old school or used to using the old way. So I'm going to say 5 on that one. And now we have our blade and its sharp edges all the way across the sides. And that's it. That's the whole blade. And that took a lot less time than it took me to write up that document. So we may be having to come up with a new way of doing this. Maybe it is all just going to be online. We'll see. Well, thanks. I'll talk to you on Monday.